There's one thing every single company on the planet is dying to know. What do people really think of us? It's a massive, multi-billion-dollar question because if you could actually get inside your customer's head, well, you can build something they'll absolutely love. But figuring out that perception it's incredibly tricky. So today, let's put on our detective hats and see exactly how the experts crack this very tough case. So the first step is to get on the same page about what a brand even is. And honestly, this definition from brand strategist Marty Neumeyer, it just nails it. A brand isn't what you say it is. Nope, it's not your logo, it's not your ads. It's a gut feeling, a feeling that lives inside your customer's mind. It's really just their reputation of you. And that's the million-dollar question, right? How in the world do you measure a gut feeling? That's the central mystery we're going to investigate today. Think of this as a detective story. We're going to follow the clues, look at the evidence, and uncover the incredible tools that brand detectives use to finally crack the case of customer perception. All right, so let's start with the basics, the classic investigative methods. For decades, researchers have relied on this core set of tools to get inside the minds of consumers. You could say these are the tried and true techniques for gathering that crucial first batch of evidence. This classic toolkit really boils down to two fundamental approaches. Think of them like different ways of interviewing witnesses at a crime scene. You've got qualitative research, which is all about the why. It uses things like focus groups to dig really deep into people's motivations. And then you have quantitative research, which is all about the how many. It uses surveys to see if those feelings show up on a much, much larger scale. Okay, so first up, we have the focus group. Think of this as a kind of group interrogation. You get a hand-picked group of people in a room, and a moderator guides the discussion. The goal isn't just to hear their opinions, but to see the group dynamics and uncover the deeper feelings behind what they're saying. Right, so if focus groups are that intense, deep interrogation of a few key witnesses, surveys are how you canvass the entire neighborhood. They use questionnaires to see if that gut feeling you found in a small group actually shows up as a broad, predictable pattern across thousands and thousands of people. But here's a super important point. These researchers, these brand detectives, they don't just talk to random people off the street. No way. They use a technique called purposive sampling to intentionally select participants that fit very specific criteria. It's not about getting random opinions, it's about getting the right opinions from the people who actually matter the most. And for a long, long time, that was pretty much the state of the art. But then, boom, the internet happened, and it just blew the whole thing wide open. Suddenly, the crime scene expanded to every forum, every blog, every social media platform imaginable, creating this massive flood of new digital evidence. The clues were literally everywhere if you just knew how to listen. And this gave rise to a whole new technique called digital ethnography. Now, instead of dragging people into a room and asking them a bunch of questions, researchers could be a fly on the wall in digital communities. They could observe natural, spontaneous, totally unfiltered conversations about brands and products as they happened, out in the wild. And this right here brilliantly illustrates the modern workflow. It's a 1-2 punch. It starts qualitatively, that's the human part, with researchers going out and collecting public online conversations from places like blogs or forums. But then, and this is the magic, it goes quantitative. They use powerful text mining software to analyze millions of these conversations, automatically finding patterns and brand associations at a scale that was just, well, it was unimaginable before. Okay, so analyzing what people say online, super powerful. But what if I told you a truly revolutionary new clue has emerged? One that goes way beyond words and focuses instead on actions. Specifically, it's about the company they keep online. I mean, think about it. This question is a total game changer. On social media, every time you click follow, it's like a little public declaration. It's a signal about your values, your interests, who you are. This huge public social network creates a completely new kind of evidence. It's a map of connections that tells a vivid story about perception. So, based on this idea, researchers came up with this brilliantly simple method. Let's say you want to know if a car brand is seen as eco-friendly. Step 1. You find a bunch of exemplar accounts that scream eco-friendly, like Greenpeace or the Sierra Club. Step 2, you measure how many of the car brand's followers also follow those environmental accounts. And that overlap, that shared audience, becomes your perception score. It's really that simple. Okay, so the big question is, does this newfangled digital detective work actually work? Can you really measure a brand's reputation just by looking at its Twitter followers? Well, when researchers compared the scores from this social network method to the results from those expensive old school surveys, they found a correlation of 0.72. Now, for those of you who aren't statisticians, let me just say a correlation of 0.72 is, well, it's huge. That's an incredibly strong connection. It means this automated, low-cost, real-time method of just analyzing follower lists gives you a remarkably reliable signal of brand perception. It is definitive proof that you are the company you keep online. The crowd a brand attracts really does tell its story. All right, so our investigation is pretty much a wrap. We've looked at the classic tools, the old school detective work, and we've seen the power of the new digital dragnet. Now let's just put it all together and see how a modern brand detective gets the complete picture. And here's the key takeaway. It's not about throwing out the old for the new. It's not one versus the other. As you can see here, they have these amazing complementary strengths. Traditional methods like focus groups are still the absolute gold standard for getting deep, nuanced insights into the why. But digital methods, they give you something that was never possible before. Incredible speed, massive scale, and all at a low cost. The best approach is to combine them both. So at the end of the day, what does this all mean? It means that gut feeling about a brand, it isn't some unknowable mystery anymore. It's a measurable reality, and it's being defined not just by what people say, but by the digital company they keep. In this gigantic network of ours, millions of public connections are constantly shaping your brand story. So the only real question left is, what story are they telling about you?